Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Quivs. This is Quivs Does Stuff, and in this series of short videos, we are looking at the special abilities of the ghosts of Phasmophobia. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Obake. Now, the Obake has an assortment of special abilities, some which are apparent when the ghost is hunting, and some which are apparent when the ghost is providing evidence. First of all, let's have a look at the ghost's journal page and see what kind of evidence we're looking for. Okay, so on the Obake's journal page, it says its strengths is that when interacting with the environment, an Obake will rarely leave a trace, and its weakness, sometimes this ghost will shapeshift, leaving behind unique evidence. We'll have a look at both of those in a minute, but for now, the evidence that the Obake gives is EMF level 5, ultraviolet, and ghost orbs. Alright, so we've got all three pieces of evidence and we know we're dealing with an Obake. Now, an Obake has several special abilities that revolve around its UV evidence. Let's take a look at the first one. Have a look at this short clip and tell me if you can see what's wrong with this picture. Alright, pretty obvious what's wrong with this picture, isn't it? This handprint has 6 fingers. Yes, the Obake will sometimes leave a handprint, a UV evidence handprint, with 6 fingers. This refers back to its journal page, where it says it'll sometimes leave unique evidence. The only other ghost that can do this is a mimic, when it's mimicking an Obake, so essentially speaking, this ability is unique to the Obake. Alright, so a 6-fingered handprint. Very unique and something only the Obake can do. Now, another thing only the Obake can do to do with UV evidence is not leave any. All other ghosts that give UV evidence will give its UV evidence unless you've changed something in the difficulty settings. But the Obake has a chance to touch something that should give UV evidence and not leave any at all. Let's have a look at this happening. Okay. So we've just heard a door touch and we go to have a look and we find our EMF 5. Now this was actually recorded for the B-roll of the EMF, but that's okay because now I'll drop my EMF reader and I'll pick up the UV and lo and behold, there is no fingerprints whatsoever. Okay, so 6-fingered fingerprints and no fingerprints at all, and we're still not done. The Obake still has one more thing that is unique to it in regards to UV evidence. Now, when the Obake leaves UV evidence, it can actually reduce the amount of time that this UV evidence will remain. Normally this is 120 seconds. It's set in the difficulty settings. You can change it in custom difficulties, but it's 120 seconds for most ghosts. For an Obake, it can reduce this drastically. Now, sometimes it's halved, sometimes it's halved again. There is a little bit of controversy around exactly how it works. Some people believe that the ability halves the remaining duration of all fingerprints in existence on the map when the Obake triggers this ability, and it doesn't have to trigger it when it actually leaves the fingerprints. However, I don't think that's the case because in this particular clip, I have 3 sets of fingerprints left in short succession, and yet the last fingerprints is the one to disappear first, and by quite a margin. The other fingerprints stick around for a while. So it is possible that maybe the Obake can reduce the duration on only one fingerprint, or UV evidence I should be saying, at a time, but we're not really sure. However, if you do get UV evidence that sticks around for a very short amount of time, that's probably an Obake. Okay, so this is a pretty long clip, and it starts with this first door opening here on the closet, and I get a fingerprint. And almost immediately, the next door opens, and I get another fingerprint. And then the door to the nursery will open in a moment. Well, we'll get a touch, and we'll hear it and we'll look, and there's a new fingerprint. Now this is different to the fingerprint that was on the door before, so I know this is a new fingerprint that's just been applied. I am currently actually trying to shoot B-roll, trying to get a 6-fingered fingerprint. Now, in a moment, I'm going to look back at the nursery door, and the fingerprint's gone. Now that was the last one to be applied, and yet it is the first one to disappear. And that was an extremely short amount of time. That was like 10, 15 seconds that fingerprint remained. That is extremely short. I'll stick around and keep watching these other 2 fingerprints to watch them disappear. They disappear in the correct order at around a normal time. I'm not sure if it's 2 minutes. It might be shorter than that as well. But it does put the lie to the ability that the people think actually occurs, and that the Obake reduces the duration of all fingerprints currently in existence on the map. Alright, so 3 different abilities to do with its UV evidence. And we're still not done. The Obake has one more special ability, but this particular one only occurs when the Obake is hunting. It might actually occur during ghost events as well, but I've never seen it. I have seen it while the Obake is hunting, and this time, despite me being a coward, I managed to capture it for you. So let's have a look. So, did you see it? If not, let's have another look, slowed down, and I'll show you the exact moment it happens. So this is the same clip slowed down to 40%. Now, the ghost does hunt right on top of me, which was kind of annoying, but oh well. So, I'm looping the ghost around the table, and we can see it's the guy with the big club, and, you know, he's getting close to me, and I'm getting a bit scared. So I sprint here to make some distance, and turn around, and as I do... Was that the butcher guy? So yeah, we clearly saw the guy with the club for most of the hunt, but just for a single blink, we get the butcher guy. This is what the Obake does. Sometimes during hunts, it will actually change ghost model just for a single blink. And so there we have it, guys, all the abilities of the Obake. So let's run through them again. First of all, there are major ones regarding its UV evidence. The first and most obvious one is that sometimes the Obake will leave 6-fingered fingerprints. The next thing is that sometimes the Obake will leave no UV evidence at all, despite it having done so previously, and henceforth you know this was definitely a UV ghost. And the third thing to do with its UV evidence is that sometimes the Obake will leave UV evidence that doesn't stick around for the default duration. Now, the final thing that the Obake will do is, during hunts, it will sometimes, just for a single blink, change ghost model. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you did, how about hitting that thumbs up button, maybe considering hitting that subscribe button, or hitting that notification bell so that you can know when I release another video. It is kind of random. I have things that I have to do. I work a day job, man. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.